Ghana, land of gold, jollof, and overpriced houses, where lands have mystery owners and rents make grown men cry. Where mansions and apartments stand tall, but then who they inside? You can see them, you can admire them, but can you afford them? We dream of a Ghana where the real estate market makes sense, where prices fits the people, and finding an affordable house would become much easier than spotting a watch seller at 3 a.m. Or you prefer Gobe. I'm Desmond Kafui, and welcome to another episode of Ghana Ground Up. Today, let's talk about the ideal real estate market that the country deserves. No long talk, no politics, just facts and the dream that we all want to see. Now, we need answers to questions like what would a truly functional and fair real estate market look like? And why are we in a crazy marketplace? And also, who benefits from keeping the real estate market broken? Today's episode rides on the back of the previous episode, which put a spotlight on the issue of money laundering in Ghana's real estate sector. And now, many people are asking, what will the sector look like if there was no money laundering? Or even better, what would an ideal real estate market look like for Ghana? Ready? Set? Let's get into it. A healthy real estate market is one where the property prices reflect the actual demand and supply instead of the inflated numbers set by speculative buyers or shadowy transactions. Now, in an ideal Ghanaian market, houses will be priced for real buyers and not just those with a lot of money to splurge. You see, when large amounts of unaccounted cash are injected into the property market, it creates artificial inflation of property values, especially in prime areas like Accra. So you'd see that properties are priced based on what those with the money are willing to pay. Look at it this way. Let's say I'm selling a plot of land in a good location, and over time, I'm able to sell that land for 100,000 Ghana cedis. Now, that price becomes an artificial benchmark price for that location. So when others are selling their lands too, they are not likely to go below what I got for mine. And once the demand increases, the prices will also go up as well. And when you have a market where people are willing to part with large amounts of money with relative ease, it leaves those who don't have much to struggle for the crumbs. Now, to get to the point of a fair market, we need to have some clear and extensive regulations, fair value systems, and also the policies that would give priority to actual home buyers instead of those who are just speculating. Now, in a fair market, the prices of properties would likely be more closely aligned with the actual demand and supply, the construction costs, and also the average income levels of those who are in the market looking for property to buy. Once the prices of properties become realistic, home ownership could become accessible to more Ghanaians. Now, the current situation sees many properties priced beyond the reach of the average working family due to the artificial pricing hikes fueled by illicit funds. In the end, price appreciation would be based on genuine market fundamentals like economic growth, like infrastructure development, and also a growing population, which will create a more sustainable long-term growth rather than speculative bubbles. Moving on, much of the housing being developed lately is for those with deep pockets, while the average Ghanaians are not even counting themselves worthy to look for houses to buy. They're rather stuck looking for affordable housing to rent. In an ideal market, property developers would give more attention to mid-range and affordable housing and not just the high-end luxury projects. And also, when you're considering an ideal market, the governments would often give tax breaks and subsidies for affordable housing projects, and this should act as incentives to get more developers to fulfill the demand of many citizens who are looking for houses that they can afford, and this will be aided by short to long-term pricing plans. On the side, mortgage systems will be designed to help ordinary people buy properties instead of requiring massive down payments that keep home ownership out of their reach. Now, I remember sitting in a presentation by Ghana Home Loans, now FNB Bank, and there was mention of a scheme to enable the regular worker, even in the informal sector, qualify for a mortgage through a government-backed scheme. I hope I got my recall right, but then definitely we'll do well to find out more about this scheme and then share in a subsequent episode focusing on mortgages. Now, imagine a Ghana where people can actually afford their own homes instead of just thinking of renting for a very long time. That is the dream we are chasing, and this is what should be commonplace, where we can all afford properties of our own. So, in an ideal market, housing should be affordable, and this should be a priority. Now, we've heard too many mentions of the whole issue of the housing deficit in Ghana and the number keeps rising and all that. And one simple solution is affordable housing, but then this solution is receiving more talk than action. Charlie, we did really, really far. We've got a lot of ground to cover. One of the biggest barriers to a strong real estate market in Ghana is the lack of transparency. And in an ideal system, all land records will be digitalized and accessible. And by this, we need to adopt and implement blockchain technologies. You already know about Bitcoin and how it has created a revolution in global finance. Imagine the impact of having the entire land registry on a blockchain where all records are public and easily accessible. You've got records on property ownership, you've got records on property transactions and also the cost of those transactions and other extensive information. When you have a fully digitalized land registry, you can easily verify land ownership almost instantly. Now, no more needing to visit multiple offices, shuffling through stacks of paperwork, or relying on word of mouth claims like, oh, this land belongs to my uncle's cousin's brother. It won't be like that. And you see, if you can verify who owns a parcel of land or property, a lot of the crooks who are laundering money cannot easily hide their identities anymore. And at the moment, money launderers are able to hide because their schemes are often involving a lot of complex ownership structures and also shell companies that are used to hide the money trails. And once these structures are removed by a digitalized registry, there will be transparency in who owns what and also who bought what. Beyond dealing with money laundering, an added benefit of having the registry in the blockchain is that there will be fewer, if not zero, land disputes, double sales, and also fraudulent claims of properties because the proofs of ownership would be there for everyone to see. In addition to digitalizing the land registry, property ownership verification would be mandatory in an ideal real estate sector. And this is to reduce or eliminate the risk of scams. Now, by this, you may have heard of people buying land or probably buying houses, only to find out later that the one who sold the property wasn't even the real owner to start with. And this happens more than you'd think. In an ideal real estate system, ownership verification would be the legal requirement before any transaction takes place. Remember that this episode goes beyond what the industry would look like if there is no money laundering and actually considers what an ideal real estate market for Ghana should or could look like. In an ideal marketplace, property developers and landlords would follow clear and enforceable contracts, so no more shady deals or surprise hikes in rent. In Ghana, too many people end up in deals that happen on a gentleman's agreement basis. And that is why we normally hear stories like, let's say, a tenant paying for 2 years' rent in advance and only for that tenant to be kicked out halfway through the rent period. Or let's say a landlord increasing rent just out of the blue because he feels like he needs to get more money from the tenant. Or probably you have a case where a developer will sell homes off plan and then he will end up disappearing with the buyer's money without even delivering what he promised in the first place. In a transparent market, whether you're buying, whether you're renting or leasing, all property transactions would have to be backed by standardized, legally enforceable contracts. This is very important because it ensures that rent increases follow the proper guidelines, and it also ensures that tenants have legal protection against unfair evictions, and also developers are held accountable for the promises they make. And there won't be any case of promising, let's say, a two-bedroom house, and then you only do the foundation and run away with people's money. A market where everyone follows the same rules benefits buyers, sellers, and the economy as a whole. No more confusion, no more surprises, just clear, secure, and fair transactions. A well-functioning real estate market should generate revenue for national development. But then right now, there are so many loopholes that are allowing a lot of deals to happen off the books. Now, in an ideal system, every property transactions will be recorded and taxed properly. And also, foreign and high-value buyers would face clear regulations in order to prevent them from distorting the market, so that the markets will not end up adapting to them, but then the markets would rather adapt to the realistic rates and the prices that are on the ground. Now, if things are done right, the government can collect property taxes more effectively, and then this revenue collected from real estate transactions can also be used to improve infrastructure and also build truly affordable housing. The goal here is that we just need a fair system where everybody contributes their fair share, and then the country ends up benefiting from all this. In a level playing field, fair competition will become the order of the day, where legitimate real estate developers and agents will be able to compete more effectively without being undercut by those who are using illicit funds to inflate property prices or offer some unsustainable deals. On the side, a transparent and a well-regulated market also becomes more attractive to both domestic and international legitimate investors who are looking for a stable and also a predictable source of good returns. Now, the presence of money laundering can deter such investors due to the associated risks and also the instability that comes with this menace. Tying everything together, the ideal real estate industry with clear policies, fair pricing, and transparency in Ghana would mean a few things. It would mean that we'd have more affordable and realistically priced properties. It would also mean that we'd have a more transparent and accountable market with clear ownership of properties. This will end up creating a level playing field for legitimate businesses and also investors. And in the end, we'll also end up enjoying a stronger economy with reduced corruption and also better resource allocation. Or more nicely put, there will be a stronger confidence in the market. Ghana needs a real estate sector that ultimately contributes to national economic growth instead of just enriching just a handful of people. While completely eliminating money laundering is a significant challenge for any nation, reducing its influence would undoubtedly lead to a more robust and beneficial real estate sector for Ghana and its citizens. Ghana can become a hub for ethical real estate. So then, what's the bottom line? Ghana deserves a real estate market that is fair, affordable, and transparent. A market where prices are reasonable, transactions are clear, and housing actually serves the people and not just the mega rich or those who have deep pockets. Would everything be perfect? Nope. But if we push for better regulations, smarter policies, and ethical investments, we can build a real estate market that works for everyone. What do you think? What's the biggest challenge in Ghana's real estate sector today that you have encountered or you have noticed? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you found this episode insightful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe so that we can keep bringing you more real estate conversations that matter. I'm Desmond Kafui, and this is Ghana Ground Up. I'll catch you in the next episode.